Innovation, imagination, wonder. These are just some of the words used to describe Dr. Harvey Passes. Dr. Passes explores interesting people and ideas that will stimulate you. He questions the people who develop, create, and employ novel concepts in business and everyday lives. He especially loves to speak with successful people. How did they do it? How can you do it too? So let's join Dr. Harvey Passes in his quest of wonder and curiosity as we watch Dr. Harvey Passes Presents.
We're back. I love saying that. We're back to Long Island's East End. Especially today, we're going to the North Fork of Long Island to enjoy one of their premier wineries and speaking to one of Long Island's premier winemakers. Do you like the way I did that?
Great.
Do you like that? And I'm talking about Eric Fry from Lenz Winery. Lenz Winery, not vineyard, winery. Winery. Lenz Winery. First, through the forest of glasses that's sitting here on the table, let's shake hands. Great to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
It's terrific. I'm so impressed whenever I speak with you. You just are so knowledgeable. You're so articulate. You know, you've got it all. You get it straight, and there's really no nonsense with you. You tell it the way you see it is, and you make a fabulous wine, which you've been doing for years. How many years?
I've been in the wine business for 30 years. Or actually 32 years at this point.
32, and you were out in California at the
I was in California and Australia
biochemist?
and France and microbiologist.
Microbiologist, right. Which is perfect for being in the wine business.
You're growing yeast and bacteria or making them not grow all the time. So
I seem to remember a story once you were telling me. Were you at Mondavi and Gergich? Mike Gergich used to come in. Can I borrow a cup of yeast?
Yeah, every time, every season.
It's funny, that one cup.
Yeah, and great. I mean, we could certainly spare it, so it's not a problem.
Well, that's for another story, another time, another day. Mm-hmm. But you brought some nice wines here. So before we get into dialogue, let's first try and let's taste. You've got them in order.
Yep.
Explain so my viewer at home understands why you have wines in order. What does that mean for someone who doesn't understand?
Each wine affects the wine that you're tasting next. Mm-hmm. It has a big effect because the last wine, there's residual in your mouth, and your brain remembers the flavors that you had in the last wine. Mm-hmm. And so I start off with a really powerful big wine here, basically to get it out of the way, because then we're going to rinse our palate clean with a lean, fresh, sparkling wine.
Which you love to call bubbly.
Bubbly, sparkling wine, bubbly. And then we're going to start with the lightest of the white wines, a richer white wine, start with the lighter of the red wines and go to the heavier, richest red wine. So you're trying to build on the flavors in your palate. If you go with a big wine followed by a smaller wine, you might miss out on a lot of flavor in the smaller wine because your palate's already overwhelmed by the big wine.
Right, sounds good to me. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. Our first wine is a Gewürztraminer.
Gewürztraminer.
Yeah, so let me just pour this for you. And I love your glasses, they're nice and thin. You know, I always enjoy.
Well, there's no use using too much energy to lift your glass.
Just the whole experience. Wine is such a kinesthetic thing. You know, let's see if we can get a shot of this bottle. I love that. Gewürztraminer. Tell me a little bit about that. Someone might think I'm sneezing. Gewürztraminer, Gesundheit. You know. Tell me a little bit about Gewürztraminer.
Okay, Gewürztraminer. It's considered a Germanic wine. Gewürz actually means spicy in German.
And Traminer.
Yeah. Traminer is basically a grape variety or a grape type. So Gewürztraminer. And this wine is best known in the Alsace region and in the regions, the Black Forest region nearby in Germany. It tends to be quite often sweeter in Germany and drier in Alsace, but not absolutely guaranteed. But it's basically a big, rich, full-bodied white wine with lots of flavor and aroma.
Look at the wonderful honey color, almost light honey color. Just look at that.
This is a 2005, and you'll see as we go along through these wines have all been aged quite a bit.
I noticed, I see your years here.
Yeah. Americans aren't used to aging wine, and so we made the decision that if the wines are going to improve with age, we have to age the wines for people, because Americans just don't understand the idea of taking wine home.
Now, I got a bone to pick with you. You brought this, and you didn't bring any Asian food with you. You know, how can you do that?
Yep.
This goes great with spicy Asian.
Full flavored food.
Full flavored food. I mean, charcuterie. It'd be wonderful with nice, delicious deli sausages and hams. I could see a nice sliced ham with it. This is wonderful.
The basic rule is full flavored wine with full flavored food, light delicate wine with light delicate food.
Makes
it's
sense.
Real simple, yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, I don't know that I would want this with a nice delicate Dover sole.
Not at all. It would overwhelm.
It would overwhelm.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but this is wonderful. Now, you do not. This is a question. Do you? Does this grape variety, when you make this, does it? It never touches wood. It's in steel.
No wood whatsoever.
No wood, because I don't taste it.
No.
And it would totally change this entire.
Well, I mean, in the
personality of
past,
wine.
I played with it. I experimented with it, and it made it interesting in some regards. But I actually decided I liked the purity and the delicacy of the fruit better.
It's like biting into a grape.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
is wonderful. Now, usually you'll take your whites and you'll have them, unless they're in wood, you'll have them pretty soon from the time that they're made. I see you have yours as an what year is this?
This is 05.
So 05. So we've got 3-4 years now on it now. From what talk
The
to me
wine
about that, your
changes
feeling on that.
dramatically in the bottle. I first of all do not rush it into the bottle. I spend a whole year letting the wine simply settle by gravity, which means that I barely have to filter it at all. And filtration takes out flavor, so I don't want to filter any more than I absolutely must.
Where does it sit?
It sits in stainless steel tank, everything completely full at a low temperature, and it just sits there and waits. And as
For a year.
For a whole year, right?
Wow.
So this will be the wine from 2008 vintage will be bottled just before the 2000 vintage comes in. So it'll be bottled in the summer of 2009.
I see.
So it sits there for a year, but then the wine changes dramatically in the bottle. Well, especially with Gewürztraminer, it takes at least 1 year in the bottle for the wine to really wake up. And 2 years, it's even more intense. And instead of having so much primary fruit flavors, you start getting secondary developed fruit flavors. So it's more evolved into a
lychee
more
nuts,
lychee
pears,
rather than pineapple.
peaches, apricot.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I catch no pineapple at all.
Yeah,
in
no,
this.
that ages out after about a year. And then you get the lychee, and the spiciness too comes out. And the spiciness starts off sort of a clove nutmeg sort of spiciness. It evolves into that rose petal aroma, because this has got a very floral, very pretty floral aroma.
I love Gewürztraminer. I absolutely love Gewürztraminer. It's just such an incredible wine. And it's so multidimensional in the mouth and in the nose.
There's so much going on. Yeah.
And it's something that many people don't really understand or know.
Well, what we find is people either love it or hate it. There's very little people that say,
Right.
well, I don't know. They either taste it right away and go, wow, or else they say, ooh.
Ooh, what's this?
So
If they're expecting a Chardonnay and
this is not even close.
or dare I say, if they just drink Pinot Grigio,
Yeah.
you know, if they just drink Pinot Grigio and that's it, then this is not for you.
No.
But this is one of these wines that I think many people often overlook when they have different things they're going to be having for dinner, which is terrific.
It's too bad they overlook it, because it's very applicable with certain dishes.
I'm very sorry to have to do this, because I just want to keep this wine. This wine is there's a food wine and there is a wine. This is a food wine because my mouth is salivating.
Yeah.
And I just want to shove maybe a piece of cheese in there or something.
Anything.
You know?
Yeah, when you start salivating, that your mouth's saying, give me food.
Give me food. Well, my mouth always
Yeah.
salivates.
Well, I pretty much make all the wines with food in mind, probably because I think about food all the time. But
Quick question, before we ask you to show my viewer how to open up a bottle of sparkling wine. Quick question, and just answer it one sentence. Who do you make your wines for?
myself.
You make them for yourself?
I make wines that I like. I make them basically, you can't go out and try to please the world because you'll end up pleasing nobody. So the least you can do is please yourself, make the best wine you think in your opinion, and then hope to find people that agree.
Okay. So let's show the world how we open up a bottle of sparkling wine. Let me get into the camera shot. I want to get my camera person here to get a close-up. Good. Okay, keep where you are. Explain what you're doing.
Okay, first you remove the foil.
Yeah, you're aiming it at me. Go ahead. I thought you liked me, Eric. Go ahead.
Simply untwist the wire and remove it. Oops, and then don't do that.
I'm so glad we did this. Now, why don't you pour that, Eric?
That, by the way, is not the way. That is not the way.
And I don't have any towels here or anything. You know, actually, if you want to dry, yeah, see,
I'll just wipe it up with my elbow here eventually. That is
I'm
actually
not going to forget. This is good. This was good, Eric.
That's actually what you're trying to avoid. You don't want to pop the cork out. That's actually wrong.
And I saw you aiming it at me.
Yeah, and I missed.
You missed. Okay.
The correct process is to hold the cork and twist the bottle slowly.
Right.
And what that does is the cork comes out very slowly. There's barely a pop, and it doesn't foam over like that.
Right.
Besides the cork shooting out and hurting someone. So.
That's great. Let me get a shot of this here. That's great. Thank you. This is one of our bloopers.
Great.
That's terrific. Thank you. Terrific. So this is called your Lenz 2002 Cuvée
Correct.
Method Champenois.
Correct.
What does Method Champenois mean?
It means that it's made in the traditional French method that they use in champagne. We don't use the word champagne on the bottle because that is the home of people that make champagne wine.
It's a region.
Home. It's a region. It's a place.
Right.
And they put their home on the bottle with pride, like we do on the North Fork of Long Island.
Correct.
We put pride on the bottle. And so it's really unfair to try to capitalize on their name. So we don't use that.
Right. So you love to call it bubbly or sparkling
wine. Right.
Right. So now, looks.
This is 2002. It's just released, brand new release. I like to age bubbly for quite a while. This was 2002 means the grapes were harvested in 2002. It was bottled in the summer of 2003, and it was disgorged at the end of 2008. So it had 5 years.
Disgorged.
Disgorged is when you ferment in the bottle, you add sugar and a little bit of nutrients and yeast, and you close the bottle tight with a cap.
To each bottle.
To each bottle.
And you've got thousands of bottles down there.
Correct. And then you let it ferment in the bottle closed container. That's where the bubbles are produced. And the yeast stay in the bottle, and it lays down in the cellar for 5 years, even over between 5 and 6 years.
Manufacturing gas.
Well, it manufactures the
bubbles.
gas in the first 2 or 3 weeks. But afterwards, the yeast start contributing more and more flavor. So the longer it stays on the yeast, the more of that toasty and nutty and caramel and honey sort of characters show up in the wine.
Comes from the yeast.
Correct. Comes from the yeast.
Okay, and then when you disgorge it, you're getting rid of the yeast.
You're getting rid of the yeast. You basically shake the bottles down till they're upside down, and all the yeast falls down into the cap.
Upside down, right.
Upside down. And then you freeze the neck of the bottle. You freeze about that much of the tip of the bottle, and that locks the yeast into that little ice cube. And then when you pop it open, the ice cube pops out under pressure and takes the yeast with it. And the wine is now clean, and it can be corked. So in 5 or 6 years that it's sitting on the yeast, it doesn't have a cork in it yet. It only has a cork in it when it's ready to be sold.
So what is on the head of it?
It's like a beer cap.
Beer cap,
Yeah.
okay, like soda.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting, okay, terrific. Making sparkling wine is a totally different world than making still wine.
Totally different. It's
Okay.
a different language, everything.
Now, I have a lot of caramel on this. Wow, amazing, it's terrific. Should one store sparkling wine, champagne, bubbly? Should one store it, or what should they do when they get it home from the store?
Drink it.
Drink it.
Not stored. It's already been aged. It's already had 5 to 6 years in the yeast. And while it's in the bottle with the yeast, it's protected from oxidation and aging. Once the yeast goes away and it's exposed to a little bit of air, it actually starts going downhill. So within 1 year of disgorging, I would recommend a bubbly being consumed.
Okay, so drink your sparkling wine, champagne. Very few. Are there any champagne that you would ever age? Any from France?
No, not really, because the ones that
the
are
same
the really
process.
premium ones have already been aged.
At the winery.
At the winery. The age has already been done for you.
So that's what you're paying for. You're
Correct.
paying for someone
Correct.
putting all the effort, the labor, and the time, and the money, and the expense, all those years of letting it sit. They're doing all the work for you.
Yep.
You open up, take it home.
Take it home, drink it.
Okay, it's good to know.
And also don't save it for a special occasion.
Well, it's Thursday.
Have it with dinner. Yeah,
Thursday.
it's Thursday.
Thursday's a special occasion.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Terrific. Okay, now that my taste buds have been cleansed.
Okay. You notice how the Gewürz disappears?
Disappeared.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Okay, so now we've got here the white label Chardonnay, and which glass am I pouring into? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, here we got this, and here we've got this. Now, let's get a shot of this so we see what it looks like. And again, your labels are pretty much the same.
I like simplicity in a label.
Thank you.
Basically, the information a consumer needs is right there in plain sight.
Right.
You don't have to hunt for it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this. This is 05, and this is your, what do you want to call it? Your regular Chardonnay?
I call it East Coast style.
Explain what that
means. The East Coast wines, the Long Island in particular, tend to produce wines that are fruitier and brighter and cleaner and crisper than, say, West Coast wines, which tend to be heavier and richer and sweeter and higher alcohol. So this is very much an East Coast style, and it's not high alcohol, it's not heavily oaked, it's not rich and creamy.
This is cold fermentation.
Cold fermentation. This is 75% was fermented in stainless steel at a low temperature, right?
And the rest was in oak?
In oak, but in very old barrels.
Okay,
10-year-old,
so it's not going to overwhelm it.
Not at all. That's I want a nuance of oak. I don't want a strong.
You got it. Very.
Yeah,
it's
just a tiny nuance.
Very delicate. Great, great nose, and there's a mild butterscotch, and again, very mild pineapple. Oh yeah.
You get a lot of fruit.
A lot of fruit. It's not sweet. It's fruit.
No,
there's a difference.
Fruit, and. Strangely enough, I really believe that wine should taste like fruit since it's made from fruit. It shouldn't taste like boards. It shouldn't taste like honey. It shouldn't taste like caramel. It should taste like fruit.
And it absolutely does. So now you have aged this at the winery. You've sat with this.
Yep.
And are you releasing this now?
This has been released for a little while. This has been released probably for 6 months or so.
Okay.
So we're in the middle of selling this batch, right?
Right.
2005 was bottled in 2006. It got a year and a half before it was released.
Wonderful. Absolutely, again, mouth-watering. But I got to tell you something. I'm still getting tannins in this thing.
And notice you're salivating too. This one with the fruit and the bright.
I'm puckering here.
Yeah.
I'm puckering here. Wow-wee.
Well, you're actually puckering from acid, not from
Is that
tannin.
right?
It's not like it's coating your mouth and feeling dry.
I'm not getting my gums covered.
The pucker is coming from the acidity, and this is a crisp, fresh,
So it'd be
bright.
great for food.
Oh yeah.
It would stand up to it.
It cleanses your palate.
Yeah. Very, very nice. Very nice. Let's move on.
Okay.
Wonderful here. Okay. So now the next one we have here is your old vines.
Old vines.
How old are the vines?
These vines, this is actually a mixture of vines. I've got some of the vines that are in there are 30 plus years old.
Really?
But actually some of them are more like 15 years old. And what it is the old vine style, and I make sure that I use at least some old vines. With the reds, I use entirely old vines, but with this one, I make sure I use some old vines. But some of the clones that have been planted later actually improve the wine, and so I'm not gonna be so fanatical that I don't make a better wine.
I see.
Okay.
I see. Okay. Am I correct in stating again that all of the grapes used come from your estate?
Yeah, we do not buy or sell grapes at all.
Okay, so you're complete.
Yeah, we grow grapes and make wine and sell the wine. That's it.
Okay. Oh, this is more oaked.
Much
right
more.
in the nose.
This is,
Wow.
I call this Burgundian style, in that everything is balanced. Notice that it's smooth. It's got fruit aromas. It's got oak aromas. It's got all these characters, but everything's in balance. Nothing's standing out. Nothing's out of
No,
proportion.
not at all. There's only one thing that's missing. It's a lobster.
See, it's smooth, but it's not. You don't get that hard oak character that's
You're right,
quite
Burgundian.
apparent.
Because the French wines have more subtlety to it.
Subtlety and balance.
Balance.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And whereas, New World wines, and I'm not knocking them, it's a different style.
It's a different style. It doesn't have to be real oaky. It can be. It's a matter of how you make the wine.
I just got apricot in the back of my mouth.
Yeah.
Wow, that
There's a lot of
surprised
fruit.
me.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I just got a nice fat
2005 was a very nice ripe year, and so we made wines that have lots of the riper evolved flavor, less citrusy and more tree fruit.
Was it 06 or 05 that had an incredible run of sun, and then it rained like crazy?
Monsoons. That was 05.
So that's what we're drinking.
And so the whites all came in before the monsoon started.
Okay, and you're very fortunate because that was like
it was
miraculous.
It was a disaster. I mean, we made wines, and the wines are nice, but they're different because we had to do things that we normally wouldn't do. We had to get them in a hurry because they were basically blowing up in the vineyards. So, yeah, 2005 is the wines are still very nice, palatable wines. It's just less recognizable as individual winemakers' styles.
People again, I keep saying this. People have to understand that the wines from Long Island are into a world of their own. And if you're a fan of a California wine, or a Chilean wine for that matter, you'll be very surprised when you come across these wines. Because these wines, if anything, they're more French.
Yeah.
In philosophy.
Correct. Philosophy and style,
And
growing conditions.
And in conditions.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a 14, 15, 16%.
No, not at all. Never happens.
Yet we have long growing season.
We have a long growing season,
We just don't
but
have
it's
that heavy duty
moderate.
sun. Right.
What happens is in the fall we get this beautiful fall season that's sunny but it's cool. And that slow ripening at the end of the season is what promotes all the fruit. So all of these wines are characterized by lots of fruit flavor. And if you have a hot season, like some of the warmer climate areas where the alcohol is shooting up, the sugar's shooting up really fast, the fruit doesn't have time to develop by the time the alcohol is too high. And so you end up with high alcohol. You need to give it oak because it doesn't have any other flavor.
Right, right.
So,
And I realized that some laws would change there so that because the alcohol is so high, they can actually add water. Yeah, which is just incredible.
well, to
It's a
get the
great
flavor,
wine.
they have to wait for it, and by then the alcohol is too high. So I actually would agree with that.
Absolutely. Fabulous wine. Fabulous wine. It's, you know, I've always been impressed with your winemaking abilities. I mean, you're really one of my favorite winemakers. I must tell you that. So let's graduate now over to let's go over to the red wine here now, and let's see. So we're starting with the old vines, Cabernet, 2002, and I must say your wines come from Peconic, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And it's a fun thing to do. You want to spend a day and go out to Long Island. It's just terrific. Let's get a shot of this. And you go out to Long Island, go to Peconic, go to Cutchaw, go around, go to all the wineries there.
Yeah,
Have
the
a ball.
wineries are almost contiguous, and so you can just go from one to another.
Exactly, exactly, with the same glass. I mean, thank you. It's just like a storybook land out there. It's wonderful, and the food,
Good
the
food.
produce, the food, the Peconic-based scallops. I mean, what could be better than having those just for a few seconds on the pan on the skillet? And that'd be just terrific. And with oh God, the Chardonnay would be fantastic with it. Okay, so now smell the nose on this.
Yeah, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh my God.
I start with Cabernet Sauvignon in the reds because the way that I make it, and this is my style, it tends to be a little bit lighter wine. And the reason for that is that Cabernet Sauvignon needs a longer growing season, and it's maybe slightly longer than
Merlot.
Definitely longer than Merlot, but it needs maybe slightly longer than we have on Long Island.
Oh, really?
And so to me, the Cabernet Sauvignon is on the edge of ripeness, whereas Merlot is dead ripe almost every year.
Yes.
Cabernet Sauvignon is on the edge of ripeness, and I do not want to have hard tannins. Hard tannins, the real grabby tannins, the ones that really dry your mouth out, they're basically unripe tannins. As we taste these, notice that the tannins are soft and sweet, and you have to wait for that. You have to wait for those to ripen.
It's a matter of knowing when to pick.
Knowing when to pick and being able to
Taste it
keep
and
the
see.
grapes healthy long enough to let it sit out there and wait.
How do you know that it's right?
I go out in the vineyard and walk down the rows tasting grapes.
And you'll taste it, and you'll see what the tannins are
I'll
like.
chew the skins, and I'll actually crack the seeds, and I'll look at the seeds to see what they look like, and you can tell when they're ripe. Basically, the vine kind of tells you too, because you'll see the vine sort of relax a little bit.
Oh my God. Oh my God. There's no question about it. This unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
You could see it.
I haven't fined or filtered a red wine in 15 years. It just doesn't need it.
If you put this up against a French wine of similar variety, I will say you'd be hard pressed to say that this is a Long Island wine.
Well, we've done that often, and with very astute tasters, professional tasters, and they have a real hard time.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It's amazing. This is all your style because other people might do it and it won't be that way.
Notice the fruit flavors are sort of red cherry, red raspberry.
Absolutely. And I know you called this a medium weight, a lightweight wine. I must tell you, I think it's more medium. I mean, this is wonderful.
Well, yeah, it's not light. It's lighter than Merlot.
It's wonderful. Let's check this out. Now we're into your Merlot.
Okay.
And now this was 01. We've got about 4 minutes left.
Okay.
That's why I'm just
This is
moving a little quicker.
This is a state Merlot. These vines are not quite as old as the old vines Merlot. These tend to be 15 to 20 years old. And this is also made in a more oxidative style, which means it's going to be more fruit forward and a little bit less of the mushroomy, earthy character.
Amazing. Oh, amazing. Amazing. More intensity of flavor.
More intensity. It's richer and smoother.
Am I getting blueberries in here?
Blueberries?
Blueberries.
Red raspberry, black raspberry. This tends to be more black fruit, black raspberry, black cherry.
Intensity of flavor without knocking you over. Oh, wonderful, elegant wine. This wine is very feminine.
Oh, very much so. But notice that you don't get grabby tannins in your mouth.
No,
you don't get any
not at
drying
all.
in your mouth. They're actually very smooth and soft. That's because they've evolved far enough in the ripening process. They become larger tannin molecules and not as reactive with protein.
Oh, just terrific. You know, it's amazing. You could take the same grapes and give it to two separate winemakers, and you'll taste them, and they will be as different as night and day. You agree?
And if the winemakers try to make the same wine, they can't do it.
They can't.
They can't, because they're basically daily decisions, daily. And so it's just impossible to make the same wine.
Now, this is old vines. Again, we're looking at, what, 33 years old or something?
30-year-old vines.
Wow, look at this. And you expect you should be able to hold on to this for another 10, 20
Oh,
years.
easily. Right now, the 1993 and 97 are drinking very nicely. 95, actually 97 is a little bit asleep still, needs to wake up. 95 and 93 are drinking very nicely.
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing.
We age this basically in the cellar as long as we can. This is 2001, bottled in 2003. So this is 5 years in the cellar aging. I mean, economically, we just can't hold it any longer. It's just not possible. We hold it as long as we can.
I said the exact same thing when the wine was in my mouth. I said I can hold it as long as I can, and that was it. I mean, I wanted to spit this, but I couldn't. This wine is truly, of all of them here, I agree with you. This is the biggest, most fruit, most complexity, and yet this wine is by no means done. I agree with you. You can sit down and let this wine age. I'd love to revisit this wine in 10 years from now.
Maybe we will.
That's amazing. Let's do a show on old wines.
That would be fun.
Old wines. We get a couple of different wineries. I mean, you and I have done shows in the past with various winemakers, and it's been a lot. That tasting was one of the best. That was excellent. That was excellent. I should re-show that one. That was really good. We should do that again.
Sure.
And give some winemakers a call. I'll call you up and we can do that. That'll be a lot of fun. This is sensational. Absolutely sensational. It's just amazing to me that now here I'm on my soapbox or my wooden wine box. But I must tell you, people have to appreciate the fabulous wines that come from Long Island, from the East End. It's just amazing that you have such incredible quality, fabulous fruit, great attention being paid to the wines, and it's a great way to spend a day to go out there and just be a part of a whole nother world. This is just terrific, just great. Any parting comments you want to make? We got about a minute left.
Well, I think your comment about that is people sometimes think, well, it's local. How good could it be? And so I just want to ask people to come out and try it. Give it a chance. So come out. We've got 35 wineries or so out on the East End.
Right.
It's an easy visit. Come out and see us and see it for yourself.
And you don't have to look in your shoe for a wick.
No.
And I'll call that a fabulous staycation. Right?
Good.
You're staying home and it's inexpensive. Eric Fry, the best. Thank you very much. Lenz Winery. Terrific. Your wines are sensational, just like you, my friend. Toast to Long Island and all the richness and wonderful things that it has to offer. And to you, too. I hope you enjoyed. This was a wonderful time for me to spend some time with my good friend Eric Fry. And just like Eric Fry, whatever you do it with passion. Otherwise, what's the use? Again.
In spite of hitting you with a cork. Sorry.